Peace, this your host, Selah Shalom, and this is a Cosmon Teachings in the words of Jehovah and his angel ambassadors from the Cosmon Bible Owaspi. And the topic of discussion today is called God Chastised the Four False Gods Separately. This is part 2 of the Judgment series, where true God continues to judge the four false gods, where true God singles out each false god, telling him their error. Now here, true God confronts Luamung first about his promises to Thoth, alias Gabriel. God's book of Esther, chapter 53, verse 1 through 42, it states, verse 1, in Jehovah's name, greeting unto thee, Luamung. Verse 2, thou had a warrior angel, Thoth, alias Gabriel, who labored for thee more than 1,000 years, in order to make thee under thy false names worshipful on earth. Verse 3, and thou did promise Thoth, alias Gabriel, that when he overcame Dagon, Ashtaroth, Baal, and other false gods, thou would give to him a heavenly subkingdom with 1,000,000,000 subjects. Verse 4, and Thoth did thus accomplish thy desire, but thou did not give him anything. Verse 5, but thou did further exact of him the destroying of idol worship among mortals, and the destroying of the oracle temples for consulting spirits, re-promising him that when he had fulfilled these things, thou would give unto him the promised heavenly kingdom. Verse 6, and Thoth, alias Gabriel, did accomplish these things also, but thou did refuse again to fulfill thy promise. Verse 7, whereby Thoth, alias Gabriel, rebelled against thee, and set up his presently heavenly dominions, inspiring his followers under the name Muhammad. Verse 8, and now, behold, thou hast since that day tried to destroy him in heaven and on earth. And you can see this with the Christians and Muslim wars going on right now. Verse 9, but Thoth, alias Gabriel, was archered in earthly possessions in Jerusalem, Antiochus, and Egypt. Verse 10, and thou did inspire mortals in Western Europe to make crusades against Thoth, alias Gabriel, in order to possess Jerusalem, Antiochus, whereby millions of mortals were slain, and vast regions of countries lay desolate. And this is referring to when the Romans in 70 AD invaded the Hebrew Israelite capital Jerusalem. But what you didn't know, that it was Luamung the false Christ and his angel host who was behind the invasions, who were the inspiring hosts for the Romans. And Jerusalem was under the management of Thoth, alias Gabriel, at the time. That was his location for his heavenly and earthly base. So the invasion of Jerusalem in 70 AD was an attempt from Luamung the false Christ to destroy Gabriel's earthly base, which he accomplished to a certain degree, because that was when the Hebrew Israelites became a scattered people, not to see Jerusalem again until later days, like now. So here Owaspi is showing you the angels which caused these events to happen on earth. Verse 11, behold, thou hast pretended thou were the all-highest God, and yet thou were unable to take a small earthly kingdom. Verse 12, thou did also afflict dire punishment and torturing of the flesh on Jehovah's worshippers and on infidels against thy doctrines. With red-hot pincers pull the flesh from the bones, or in boiling oil slowly dip them, or from precipices hurtle them, or in boxes line them with pricking spikes of iron bound them, thus to blot all knowledge and learning in opposition. Millions and millions hast thou thus cast in death in thy earthly regions. Verse 13, in Ispan, Spain, and Itius, Italy, thou hast thus put to death more than 7 million mortals. And this is referring to the Inquisition in Spain and Italy. Alone there was thus put to death by the wars to establish Christianity upward of 7 million people. The Inquisition in many parts of Europe was so severe that it staggers belief. Yet it is all historical fact. During the same period of time, great and equally severe iniquities were going on in India and China for Brahma and Buddha. So all you Christians who profess Christianity know that the Christians in the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, 4th, 5th, coming on up to the 14th even, all up into the slave trade of today, killed the most people on the face of the planet to establish Christianity. So understand that Christianity got the most blood on their hands. Verse 14, nevertheless, these angels will come home to thee in after time with vengeance in their souls. Verse 15, behold, thy false promises to Thought, alias Gabriel, are already visited upon thy kingdoms. Verse 16, but as for Thought, alias Gabriel, who became thy willing tool to destruction for thy glory, what merit hath he? Verse 17, how shall I judge thee, O Thought, alias Gabriel? Verse 18, because thou hast a heavenly kingdom, and withal are master on earth of Jerusalem, and Theas, and Egypt, and Panjub, thou flatterest thyself thou art a great God. Verse 19, but thy heavenly kingdom hath become a place of lustards, and foul-smelling spirits in the lowest of grades. Verse 20, and thy heavens is surely and steadily declining in grade. Verse 21, now, as to thee, Cabalites, thou hast destroyed 1,000 mortal libraries, and put to death 60 millions of people, in order to establish thyself as Buddha. Still, thou hast steadily declined in grade, and thy kingdom with thee. Verse 22, thou hast fashioned many sacred cities, and framed many tales as to who there were in mortal life. Verse 23, thou hast falsely called thyself Buddha, and doubly false hast thou taken the name Sakaya, Muna. Verse 24, thou hast tortured to death millions of mortals who rejected thee. Verse 25, and when my heavenly ships rescue their distracted and chaotic spirits, thou did wantonly connive with thy jugers to despoil my ships and cast these helpless spirits into darkness. Verse 26, thou hast done these things for past times, and diversities for thy falling heavens. Verse 27, and even so hath it been with Enoxa. Verse 28, never had a Lord a fair opportunity in all the earth's heavens to do a good and great work than what fell into thy hands. Verse 29, but behold, how thou hast harvested thy heavens. Verse 30, 1,000 years ago thy grades were from 40 to 65, and this day they average but 10. Verse 31, it needeth no prophet to foretell that thy declination will lead to destruction in the end. Verse 32, now lastly, O ye false gods, ye deceivers and hypocrites, ye have divided the earth and the heavens thereof between yourselves, and reconfederated together for a balance of power. Verse 33, ye have also persuaded mortal kingdoms to divide the earth into sections and regions, and to clamor for a balance of power between different kingdoms. So here you see it again. In America, we have, 52 states. So these ideas and concepts came from the angels first, because their heavenly kingdoms are divided in the same manner. As I say again, as above, so below. Verse 34, ye have thus caused mortals to provide standing armies to protect themselves, kingdom against kingdom, after the manner ye protect your own kingdoms in the heavens. So like again, the same way you see these standing armies in the 7 continents of the world, likewise do the heavenly kingdoms have standing armies defending their kingdoms. As above, so below. Verse 35, Christians against Christians, Brahmins against Brahmins, Buddhists against Buddhists, Muhammadans against Muhammadans. Yet all of these 4 have ye arrayed against one another. In very likeness of your heavens have ye built on earth. Within these 4 religions, people not even getting along within these religions, creating different sects from religions. Like you have the Christians, Baptists, Seventh-day Adventists, Jehovah's Witness, all these different sects who have different theories and ideologies based off the scriptures. That's division. Likewise with Islam. You have Islam, then you have the Nation of Islam, the Nation of Gods and Earth. That's division. That's not of the Father. That's not of the Creator. Creator don't move in division. He move in unity. Verse 36. Ye have inspired mortals to keep as standing armies 40 million soldiers. Verse 37. Ye have inspired mortals to build military schools and colleges, where the young may be trained in the art of war and destruction. Verse 38. Ye have inspired mortals to build monuments to their generals and captains, because of their courage to destroy, like the code of honor, the medal of honor. When you go massacre many people, you get a medal of honor for that. What you see going on, these principles and these orders and these disciplines for war and destruction come from these angels. Verse 39. Ye have inspired the wicked of mortals to believe that if they would read your sacred books and call on your names, ye would surely save them, and after death take them to the highest of heavens. Verse 40. And yet, when ye die, your hosts are not there to receive them. Verse 41. And when they call out for you, your emissaries kick them and beat them. Verse 42. And they return with vengeance to afflict mortals. So here we're showing you that the spirits of the dead can come back with vengeance to afflict mortals. Now, God's book of Ezra, chapter 55, verse 1 through 14. God continues his chastisement against the four false gods. Verse 1. God said, in the name of Jehovah, wherein shall I find an excuse for your behavior? Verse 2. When my angels taught man how to make a capstan, and a screw, and a telescope, and a compass, behold, your emissaries inspired my chosen to be tortured and put to death. Verse 3. When my angels inspired man to comprehend and announce the glory of the stars and planets, ye put my chosen to death. Through your vindictive angels against Jehovah were these things accomplished. Verse 4. When my angels taught man by inspiration that the earth was round instead of flat, ye sent spirits of darkness to inspire the death of my philosophers. Verse 5. Because, forsooth, my inspirations agreed not with the sacred books which ye compounded for your own glory. Verse 6. Yeah, ye palm off your compilations from other false gods as being Jehovah's, and ye played upon the honest and innocent of man's understanding, contrary to the will of the Almighty. So here this verse shows you how it states, ye ward off compilations from other false gods, referring to the other stories that they used to compile the Bible, and trying to say that these are Jehovah's words, being a mixed multitude of different gods, trying to make it into one God out of many stories. And once you start unraveling the Bible, you can clearly see this. Verse 7. Ye have holden your sacred books up and said, here is the ultimate. Beyond this, no man shall go. Same thing with the Bible. Oh, you don't need to read no other book. Everything is in the Bible. Likewise with the Quran. Some people say that nonsense. Verse 8. And ye know the while that any fixed revelation could not be true, because all the universe is in constant progress. So to sit there and say that the Bible is the only book and there is no other book is nonsense. There is no fixed revelation. Things are always in progress. Likewise with the Quran. The Muslims will be quick to say that the Quran is the last book and there is no other book coming. That is nonsense. Here you have the Owaspi, which came in 1881. Crushing both books in the name of the Almighty Jehovah, who came to Moses in that same name, Jehovah, who came to Abraham in the same name, Jehovah, that you could find in your scriptures, in your biblical scriptures. But here, after both books, Owaspi comes, which contains a vast information that neither book can compare to. And I have knowledge of both the Bible and the Quran. So I'm not speculating on nothing. I'm speaking from experience. The Owaspi crushes both books, hands down. Verse 9. Ye have holded up your own sacred books and said, here are rules and our sure guide to reach the all-highest heavens. Verse 10. Knowing the while that your heavens were the lowest of the bound heavens of the earth. Verse 11. Now, behold, the same rules apply unto you as to the least of Jehovah's children, which are, that whosoever putteth up a mark with himself as the highest, and he, the interpreter thereof, is already on the downward grade. Verse 12. And whosoever seeketh to glorify himself by his kingdoms, or by the magnificence of his possessions, taketh a burden upon his shoulders that will sooner or later fall upon him and crush him. Verse 13. And whosoever fortifieth himself by armies, whether in the heavens or on earth, bindeth himself therewith for his ultimate sorrow. So all the standing armies of the nation, all the millions of people in warfare who join to go to war, who glamour in warfare, the destruction that's going to come upon you all. Verse 14, and whosoever turneth away from Jehovah and saith, I will go not after him, nor search to find him more, but I will build unto myself planteth and edifts that will tumble down upon him in time to come. Now, God's book of Esther chapter 56, verse 1 through 12. God continues his chastisement of the four false gods. Verse 1. In the name of the Almighty, my brothers, look at the glory ye boast of. Verse 2. Ye say, behold, we have scattered Jehovah's faiths into all the places of the earth. They are without a kingdom. They have not left one community to themselves on the whole earth. Verse 3. Think ye Jehovah hath appropriated them? Verse 4. Behold, it is true, ye have despoiled them and scattered them abroad. Verse 5. Ye had hunted them down in China, in India, in Arabia, Persia, Hellas, and Europe. Verse 6. Ye have denied them the right to own lands, the right to follow their choice of avocation. Verse 7. Ye have denied them justice, and even a hearing in the courts of trial. Verse 8. And your accusations against them was, they worship not gods born of woman. Verse 9. But behold the wisdom of Jehovah, because ye thus dispossessed his people, and they were scattered abroad, they have sown the doctrine of the All-One over the earth, and in the heavens thereof. Verse 10. They have been as a leaven to work in the foundations of mighty kingdoms and emperors. Verse 11. They have given learning unto all peoples, to show the magnificence of Jehovah's universe. Verse 12. Behold, inhabitants of the earth now look upward and ask, may there not be other worlds? How long hath been the earth standing? Could the creator of thousands of millions of worlds, which have stood for thousands of millions of years, be so young as any one of these pretending gods, and descend to earth, and do a work so imperfectly that only one small kingdom hear of him? So now, this verse is referring to how people will start questioning the so-called holy books, saying, how can you look up at night and see the perfection of the universe, but when you read the King James Bible, you got this imperfecting God who makes mistakes. That's not the creator. And with that, I'd like to say peace and blessings and catch you on the next documentary called God Prophesies of the Four False Gods, Lu among Enoxa, Kabbalichtes, and Gabriel. Shalom.
Remember Jah, he was the Makali, Jah